The Martins family lived in a beautiful estate in Abuja, the capital city, where everything was always busy. Mr. Martins worked as a diplomat, traveling to different countries for important meetings. His wife, Angela, was a successful businesswoman who owned beauty stores across the city. They had one child, a bright and cheerful 8-year-old named Nina. Nina was the joy of their lives, but they were often too busy to spend time with her. Angela always promised, "It's for your future, my dear. We are working hard so you can have the best life." Nina would smile, but deep inside, she wished they could just stay home and play with her. Mr. Martins was hardly ever home. He sent gifts and called often, but Nina missed his presence. Her mother tried to make up for it, but with a demanding business, Angela too was away most of the time. When Nina turned 8, her parents decided it was time for her to attend a boarding school. "It's the best option," Mr. Martins said to his wife during one of his rare visits. "She will make friends, learn discipline, and grow up strong." Angela agreed. She chose St. Grace Girls' College, a top boarding school known for its high standards. Though the decision was hard, Angela believed it was for the best. "Nina," Angela said one evening, sitting her daughter down, "you are going to a wonderful school. It's very nice and you will love it there." "Why can't I stay home?" Nina asked, her big brown eyes looking sad. Angela smiled softly. "Your father and I want you to have the best education. You will thank us one day." St. Grace College was a large, beautiful school surrounded by tall trees and neat gardens. The buildings were painted bright white and the school rules were strict. On the first day, Nina hugged her mother tightly, tears rolling down her cheeks. "I will miss you," she whispered. Angela patted her back and kissed her forehead. "I will visit you every time I can, my darling. Be strong, okay?" The first week was difficult for Nina. She missed her parents and cried quietly at night. The dormitory felt cold and unfamiliar, with its long rows of beds and the sound of other girls whispering. But over time, Nina adjusted. She made a close friend named Kemi, a cheerful girl who loved to talk about her family. Together they explored the school and giggled during free periods. Nina still missed home, but she started enjoying school a little more. Angela visited Nina every visiting day. She brought her daughter favorite snacks and books, stories about life in the city. Nina always looked forward to these visits, counting down the days to see her mother. One visiting day, Angela arrived earlier than usual. She brought fried rice and chicken, Nina's favorite meal, and a doll. "You're doing so well," Angela said proudly. "Your teacher told me you're one of the best in your class." Nina smiled brightly. "Thank you, Mom. Can we go out today?" Angela thought for a moment. "Why not? Let's go shopping." They drove to a big shopping mall in the city. Nina held her mother's hand tightly as they walked through the busy stores, admiring the colorful clothes, shoes, and bags. In one store, Nina's eyes caught a pair of red heels under bright lights. The shoes sparkled like rubies and the heels were high and elegant. "Mom!" Nina exclaimed, pointing. "That shoe will look so good on you." Angela laughed softly. "Do you think so? The heel looks too high." "No, Mom. You will look so beautiful in it. Please try it." The shop assistant brought down the shoes and Angela slipped them on. The heels clicked softly on the tiled floor as she walked. Nina clapped her hands. "Mom, you look like a queen." Angela smiled at her daughter's excitement and decided to buy the shoes. From that day, the red heels became her favorite. She wore them to every event and the click-click sound of her footsteps became her signature. Months passed and it was time for the school term to end. Nina packed her bags before the closing date, excited to go home and spend the holidays with her mother. She imagined all the fun they would have together and couldn't wait to hear the sound of her mother's red heels announcing her arrival. Angela was equally excited. Her husband had traveled for another international meeting, so it was up for her to pick Nina up. That morning, Angela dressed in her finest clothes and of course her red heels. Her steps echoed through the house as she prepared to leave. When she arrived at St. Grace, the school compound was busy with parents picking up their children. But as Angela looked around, she couldn't see Nina. She checked the dormitory, the dining hall, and even the playground, but Nina was nowhere to be found. "Excuse me," Nina said to a teacher she saw nearby. "Where is my daughter, Nina Martins?" The teacher looked surprised. "Let me check," she said and hurried away. Minutes passed, then hours. Angela's worry turned to panic. She stormed into the principal's office. "Where is my daughter?" she demanded, her voice shaking. The principal, a stern woman with a sharp face, looked uneasy. "Madam, we are looking for her. She seems to be missing." "Missing?" Angela's voice rose. "How can my daughter be missing? She was here this morning." The school searched every corner, but Nina was gone. Angela refused to leave the school. For days, she stayed in the principal's office, demanding answers. "How can a child just vanish? What kind of a school are you running?" she shouted, her voice breaking. The staff searched the surrounding areas, questioned the students, and even called the police, but no trace of Nina was found. Angela became desperate. She went to churches, mosques, and even traditional healers, begging for help. "Please, my daughter is missing. Somebody must know where she is," she cried to another one who would listen. Weeks turned into months, but there was no news. Angela's once vibrant personality began to fade. Her business started to suffer as she could not focus on anything except finding Nina. She stopped attending social events, ignored all her friends, and spent most days locked in her bedroom, staring at the red heels her daughter had chosen for her. "Why did this happen to me?" she whispered to herself. "Why my child?" Her husband tried to comfort her when he returned, but he was as broken as she was. He blamed himself for not being around enough. "Maybe if I had stayed home, this wouldn't have happened," he often said, but his words brought no comfort to Angela. One evening, after months of relentless grief, Angela fell seriously ill. Her body grew weak. Her voice became faint. Doctors said it was stress and depression, but Angela knew it was her broken heart. "I have no reason to live," she told her husband. "My child is gone." As her condition worsened, Angela made a final request. "When I die, bury me with those red heels. They were the last thing that brought joy to my daughter." Her husband, though heartbroken, promised to honor her wish. Angela passed away quietly one rainy morning. The house, once filled with life, was now filled with silence and sorrow. On the day of her funeral, Mr. Martins made sure her red heels were placed in the coffin beside her. The sound of raining tapping on the roof mixed with quiet sobs of mourners as she was lowered into the ground. Life moved on for others, but not for Mr. Martins. He sold the family home and moved away, unable to bear the memories. St. Grace Girls' College returned to normal, though whispers of Nina's disappearance still lingered among the students and staffs. It started softly at first. The students at St. Grace began hearing strange noises at night. In the stillness of the dormitory, a soft click-click sound echoed down the hallways like the sound of high heels on a hard floor. "Did you hear that?" one girl whispered to her friend as they lay in the bed. "Yes, it sounds like someone is walking, but nobody is there," the friend replied, trembling. The sounds became more frequent. Sometimes, students reported seeing a shadowy figure in red heels walking past the dormitory windows late at night. Others claimed they heard faint cries echoing from the school's old storage building. The rumor spread quickly. "It's Madame Koi Koi," the students began to say. "She's looking for her daughter." At first, the school authorities dismissed the stories as childish imagination. But when a senior student claimed she had seen the figure up close, a woman with long hair, pale skin, and bright red heels, they began to worry. The girl fell sick the next day, muttering incoherent words about the red shoes, and don't let her find me until her parents withdrew her from the school. The principal held an emergency meeting with the staff. We must handle this quietly. If parents hear these stories, they will pull their children out, she said. But the haunting grew worse. Lights flickered on and off in the classrooms. Doors slammed shut on their own. Some students even woke up with scratches on their arms and legs, though they could not explain how they got there. Among the frightened students was a 12-year-old girl named Ada. Unlike the others, Ada was curious about the mysterious figure. She had always been fascinated by stories of ghosts and spirits, but this was the first time she had encountered one herself. One night, as the other girls cowered in their beds, Ada stayed awake, listening for the sound of the red hills. When she heard the faint click in the hallway, she grabbed her flashlight and quietly left her bed. Ada, where are you going? Her bunkmate whispered, but Ada didn't reply. She followed the sound, her heart pounding with every step. The hallway was dark and cold, but the click of the heels guided her. It led her to the old storage building at the back of the school, a place students were forbidden to enter. Ada hesitated for a moment, then pushed open the creaky door. Instead, the air was thick with dust and a smell of decay. A flashlight beam landed on broken furnitures, old school supplies, and cobwebs. But in the corner of the room, she saw something that made her freeze. A figure stood there, barely visible in the dim light. It was a woman, her face pale and sorrowful, her eyes sunken and lifeless. She wore a flowing white dress, and on her feet were the red heels. Who are you? Ada whispered, her voice shaking. The figure turned to her, and for a moment, everything went silent. Then, in a voice that was both soft and chilling, the woman said, I am looking for my daughter. Okay guys, I hope you all enjoyed this wonderful story. Do not forget to tap on your notification button to be notified whenever we post. And please guys, like, share and subscribe. Thank you.